Know that you've had communication with Hoosier. How desperate are we in this tire situation? Because, we're hearing that the World of Outlaws, they were limited to one tire apiece per team when they were going to go to Tri-City, and when they were going to go to, where was the other track they were going to go to? Hobstadt. They were only going to be limited to one tire. What are you hearing from Hoosier, and how desperate is this going to end up being?
Well, they're working on the issue. A lot of it has to do with the synthetics and then labor. And I think they've got synthetics, and starting in May, they're going to crank everything up. But, by the 1st of May, they should have everything. And then by the end of May, they should be okay. So,
yeah.
Is there a shortage? Yes, there is right now. They just don't have enough. And I'm getting a third of the tires I normally get as a distributor. And, like this weekend, we had 20 right rears.
Yeah.
Is that enough? Probably not. But it's enough if teams don't gourd them. I do think we'll be in a struggle till we see the 1st of June, which gives us all of May. They'll start producing May 15th. They've got the assembly going then.
I'm just going to throw this question out there and ask you about it, because there is a China tire that people are kind of trying to push to make a universal sprint car tire. Are you in favor of something like that?
I'm always in favor of change of any kind. However, the problem you got is it's just like, well, can we go get American Racers? Well, American Racers probably in just as bad a shape, if not worse, than Hoosier.
Yeah.
The stuff coming over from China, no, I don't know much about it. I do see it. I'm not, there's got to be a lot of testing that goes in tires. Take a look at the Outlaws at Bristol. Can you imagine a tire blowing on them at 140 mile an hour?
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of I've got a conference call on our quarter midget tires. They want to switch from Hoosier to Vega. The problem is now you open up things and people are on different stuff. The first guy that wins with a China tire, they'll all go run and try and buy those tires, and
right.
they say they got them, and then once you get in the door, they don't have them.
Right.
So, I think though we could always, no one likes what we're seeing with the cost increase with tires. That's just not good.
Yeah.
But it's not just tires.
So you're finding it just as hard with your weekly cars too, your stock cars and the stuff that you run down at the lake. They run American Racers, I take it. You're finding out it's going to be difficult for those people to get tires as well.
Yeah, I think so. Now the good thing is the B mods are on the American Racers. The other ones we do run Hoosiers, like on our super stocks, but we also allow takeoffs with asphalt tires, and then they groove them and sipe them, and they're $50 to $80, but they're just a hard tire that they got to go do some manual labor to.
Yeah.
But right now, you might as well.
Yeah. Kenny, how difficult is it going to be? I think about it when we get into the heat of the summer. Now, you say that we should have enough tires by June, but if for some reason we don't have tires and we get into the month of July and August, and that's when we really start burning up tires, right? When the heat of the summer, this could turn into a real problem. And do you think we're at the point to where promoters are starting to worry about their events? Because, I think that I know enough to know that the promoters typically make most of their money at the start of the year and at the end of the year. And during the summer months, the crowd kind of dwindles down a little bit because it's so hot outside. Are you concerned as a track owner about this tire situation, what it could mean for you and your racetrack?
Yeah, I mean, especially for the traveling series. Like, we still have the All-Stars coming in. We've got the MLRA late models, the Lucas late models coming in next weekend.
Yeah.
I think we're good there. I think sprint tires and midget tires are going to be the biggest challenge. And, the good thing is a local track, my big shows like the Outlaws, the ASCS, the 410 Wings, all that, we pop them in about every 4 to 5 weeks. But it's really our local racing. If we can't make it off the local racing, you can't hope that you have a big weekend and make it off the Outlaws or make it off one. The local racing is more important. Do I see it being a problem? Yeah, I do. I can see.
Yeah.
I'm already canceling a midget show next week because we're short of tires. In other words, I have 4 races coming up before the next, and so I'm kind of picking and choosing where I think tires will be or what we can do.